Good evening, YTPC. Big Casper here, coming to you from a remote location in west central Ohio. Just got off a live feed with Pipe and Cigar Therapy. If you haven't checked out his channel, that's a great channel. I mean, he's just a great guy and does, actually lately he's been doing live feeds quite frequently, and they're just very interesting. Like I said, I enjoy sitting down, smoking a pipe, and getting all those live feeds with him. Coming to you tonight, like I said, I'm smoking my Dagner Cobb, and in there I'm smoking just a little bit left of Shortcut to Mushroom. I'm going to miss that when it's gone, and it apparently is gone right now. Like I said, come to you this evening, though, to do a VR to Four-Eyed Piper. I said, Zach and Christy, you guys asked some very interesting questions, and I've pondered them for a while, and I think I'm ready to answer those. So let's move to that. Christy, like I said, your question, you ask what was the best decision we ever made, and how did that impact our life? Like I said, I've heard several others that have given you video responses, and very good responses. Like I said, I like the response that the best decision I ever made was that I decided to give myself to Jesus Christ and to follow God with my life. That's a good answer. I also like the answers of who I chose for my wife, but neither one of those answers fit with my way of thinking currently. With regard to God, that would have been the best decision in my life, only I've come to believe I did not choose him, he chose me. So I hesitate to say that was my decision. I think God pursues us until we find him. That's my belief of just how God is, how he works in our lives, how he works in pursuing after us, and that's like I said. So I don't really think anymore that was my decision. I think he came after me, he chose me, he ordained me to the life that I live, of ministry that I now live, that I now pursue. And in many ways, I feel the same way about my wife. She's been my bride now for 37 years, my soulmate, my constant companion. And really, when we just hit it off immediately when we met, and just, started spending time together. And it wasn't really in my mind that at one point I decided to choose her, or I decided to ask her to marry me. It just became as we went along and got to know each other better, it just became inevitable that that's where we were headed. And so we've pretty much been lifelong companions and soulmates ever since then. So that may not be the answer you were looking for, but those are the most impactful things in my life, is my decision to follow after God in ministry, and my wife has been my constant companion in that. Like I said, my soulmate, and I can't imagine life without either one of those things as being a major part of it. That is my life, serving God and serving alongside my lovely bride. Zach, the question you asked was, what was the worst decision that we ever made, and how did that impact us? Again, it may sound like I'm hedging a little bit on that, but you would understand the family that I grew up in, very, I guess I want to say, cautious and contemplative people. We think through about everything we do, and I can't really think of a bad decision or something I'd label a bad decision, because first of all, I firmly believe in the philosophy of failing forwards. It's not really a bad decision if you just, if it's not going right, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you go on. And that's pretty much been the way I've lived life. I can't think of any decision that I made in that sense, one way or another, that negatively impacted me more than just for a moment. So I guess I don't even really think of that way of thinking about things. That philosophy is one that I've followed even in my professional life as an engineer. Sure, when you're doing engineering work, things go wrong, but my philosophy has always been, and the philosophy of the manager that I've worked with and for the past 35 years, is that when there's a problem, you don't spend any time assessing blame, figuring out who caused this problem. He always and I always just look for who's going to fix it, and that's the way we pursue life. That when something goes wrong, you don't figure out who's to blame. You just correct it and go on. And that's been my philosophy of life. It's very much just like I said, just moving forwards. My grandpa always said things like that are never a problem if you learn from them and just don't do them again. And so that's always been my philosophy of life. So that's how I would answer those two questions. That's not quite maybe not be as direct as you hoped it would be, but that's been my philosophy of life, and it's worked very well for me. But I do appreciate your channel. Man, you have just, Zach and Chris, you guys have just shot up there. You guys are truly off the hook when it comes to the YTPC. You just jumped right in there with both feet and started producing great content, and I think you've been rewarded with subs, and a lot of them in a very short amount of time. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better in the live feeds that we've been on. The one that we did the other day live with several of us online was just very memorable. I just really like that. I don't have anyone around me that I know that smokes a pipe, but it's just great to sit down with the YTPC and watch the YouTube videos and participate in the live events. That's just miraculous. Well, you guys, congratulations to you guys. Keep it up. Love you guys. Love spending time with you. Love hanging out when you're online. I always, when the thing pops up on my phone saying that Four-Eyed Piper is live, I always try to cut short whatever else I'm doing and get on there. You guys are just a blast to be around, and I do enjoy watching all of your content. Thank you very much, and I'll sign out for tonight.